viewers, I must have missed it, but I think a key context to the Jordan Neely situation is that he violently assaulted 3 people prior to this event happening.
Doesn't matter. Irrelevant.
A 68-year-old woman was punched in
irrelevant.
the face. And
John,
she got her
John.
Why is that irrelevant?
I'm going to explain to you why. When that situation took place on the subway, what this guy did prior is irrelevant. Same thing with George Floyd. People say, well, George Floyd did this in his life. He's been arrested. I don't care if somebody's been arrested 1,000 times. It doesn't mean anybody can do whatever they want and free reign on an individual. And that's why I'm not going to just let you go down a list of the things that Jordan Neely did.
Can I tell you why I think it's relevant?
Well, you can think it's relevant, but according to the law, it's not. You can tell me why, but I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, because why was he even out of prison for assaulting 3 separate people on 3 separate events?
Yeah, but the Marine didn't know that. The Marine
didn't know that. Nobody on the subway knew that.
I understand all that. But he was out on the streets. Why was he out on the streets?
Okay.
Well, his prior history could not have even been brought up in the trial unless the defense attorney brought it up, and I don't know if he did.
My understanding
that is something
is
that you cannot even use against people in the court of law.
That is why I say it is not relevant to this case, because the defense attorneys weren't even allowed to bring it up in court. And
if they make a mistake and bring it up,
let me ask you a question.
You can
do you think George Floyd's past was relevant to the knee on the neck for 8 minutes, sir?
Yeah. I don't think George Floyd should have been on the streets at all.
Okay, of course. Hold on.
He had 18 incidents.
For pointing a gun at a pregnant woman.
Okay, listen to what I am saying. Are you saying that it is a Derek Chauvin defense, the knee on the neck for 8 minutes, which, by the way, he was charged for murder and convicted of, and you're saying part of his defense is, look at what this guy did 5 years ago? Is that your take, sir?
I'm not defending Chauvin. I'm saying, but Chauvin was wrong, and George Floyd should have never been on the street.
Okay, but I understand. Okay, those are 2 different arguments, and we might agree on that argument. But my point
would you agree that Neely should have been in prison still?
John,
can I make a point?
Yeah, let me just answer him real quick, and then you have the floor. Saying whether it's relevant to the case, which I say it's not, is different than you asking me, should he have been on the streets? Do you understand the distinction I'm trying to make?
I just want to know your opinion.
Okay, but do you understand that distinction? I will answer your question, but we'll answer mine. Do you understand that distinction?
Yeah, I completely understand.
Okay, good. So it's not relevant to the case, but I will still answer your question. In my opinion, somebody who puts a gun at a pregnant woman should be in jail for the rest of their life. Let me be very clear. Jordan Neely assaulted women. Jordan Neely had major psychological and mental issues, and he should have gotten the help that he needed, and this country failed him there. Now, if you want to say he should have been in jail, okay, but the guy had major schizophrenia, major mental issues. I'm not excusing the crimes that he committed. So, yes, I think when people assault people, I want them in jail.
Can I explain some of the legal issues? So, in a legal sense, you can only judge by what happened in real time at the time. Even the law says you cannot judge something with hindsight of 2020. In fact, that's a direct quote, that you have to judge on what actually happened at the time, what the Marine knew, what the other people observed, and why he took the action that he took. Now, in the court of law, like I was saying, if the defense brings up the past, which I think is a mistake, if they bring it up, then it could become an issue. But I don't know any judge that would allow anyone's record to come up at a trial.
All I'm saying, and I answered your questions honestly, John.
I just want to bring up one more point.
I will let you do that. I will let you do that. But I want to say this again. You said that it's relevant. You said it was relevant in the Neely case. It's not. You said it was relevant in the George Floyd case. It's not. Now, I'll answer your question, and we can agree that, yes, some of these people probably should have been in jail. Okay, fine. Agree. But it's not relevant when it comes to the actual case at hand, because if it was, it would have been allowed in court. So go ahead.
Okay, so you guys referenced earlier that there's no statistics to support violent cities. Liberal cities are more violent than others. And as
a whole, you can find certain.
So while I was on mute, I went on worldpopulationreview.com, and the top 20 cities with the highest violent per capita. I know you tried to say per capita is different, whatever. Per capita: St. Louis, Detroit, Baltimore, Little Rock, Milwaukee, Rockford, Cleveland, Stockton, Albuquerque, Springfield. What do all these cities have in common?
Okay, I don't know. Do they all have?
Look up all their mayors.
Those are a lot of Democrats.
Look up all the mayors.
Okay,
yes, they're all Democrats.
So hold on. Let's backtrack here a little bit. I'm talking about states and the entire country. You're talking about cities. So we can go back and hold on. So we can go back and forth and talk about some cities that might have Democrat mayors, but you don't put any responsibility towards governors that run the state.
The statistics we put out were state.
Right.
We're not
right.
local. Yes.
But you don't put any responsibility. So let me get this right. In an entire state run by a Republican, you don't put any responsibility on the Republican. But if you can find cities in that state that have Democrat mayors, you're only willing to put the responsibility on a Democrat mayor.
We can do the same.
We can do the same thing you're doing, sir.
Yeah,
you're playing games.
Let me respond to that. So if it was the governor's fault, then you would see the same crime statistics in other similar states.
So here's the difference. Here's the difference between you and me. I'm not saying it's the governor's fault. I'm not saying it's the city's mayor fault. Here's the difference between you and me. I'm not blaming Republicans or Democrats for cities or states that have crime. What I am blaming are Republicans and Democrats that are not willing to sit at the table and put some laws in place that would help communities. You're the one.
So you don't find it entirely coincidental that all 20 are all liberal?
I don't find it.
20 are all liberal.
I don't find it.
If you search on the internet, if I search for a while, I can probably find one that rivals that and says the complete opposite. I would have to know the details.
You're retired, aren't you? You should know those stats. Why don't you tell me then?
Oh, I don't memorize stats. Sir.
So you think someone who's a retired police officer should know all the stats throughout the country?
I don't memorize.
All right. Well, who did you vote for president? Since you want to talk about stats. Who did you vote for, sir?
You're gonna conflate.
No, not conflating at all.
You're gonna conflate.
I'm conflating.
Know where
it's
you're
not
going.
conflation. It's consistent.
It's consistency. It's not conflation. So let's try to be consistent, sir. Would you say that people that assault police officers are patriots and hostages? Let's try to be consistent.
Nope.
You wouldn't. Who made that statement?
No.
Who made that statement?
Not Trump, because I know you're going to say
no. Donald Trump literally made the statement and called them in multiple. Hold on. I never said that. I need you to focus, and I never said everybody that went into the Capitol assaulted police officers. Okay, now you're being a moron. Listen, I'm not taking. He literally said he was going to, and he was asked about that. He literally said on day one he wants to pardon everybody on January 6th. He didn't say a few people or people who didn't assault police officers. So I now ask you again, and let's see if you can be honest.
You're taking him out of context.
No, I'm not taking him out of context, and you're a fool.
No, he said that directly.
No, your entire phone call was out of context because you're a right-wing MAGA buffoon. You're a buffoon. And I ask you a very simple question. He specifically said and called them hostages and patriots. And he was asked to specify, and he said all of them on day one. He said it in an interview over the weekend, and you will defend and curl into a pretzel. So you want to blame Democrats for all of our problems, right, when it comes to crime, not the governors that run the states, which makes you an imbecile and makes you a right-wing buffoon. And then when I bring up Donald Trump and I bring up hostages and patriots.
He pardoned Michael Flynn.
Yeah, he pardoned Michael Flynn. Oh, no, you're taking him out of context.
No, he was working for Russia.
Have a nice day, you ass. Have a nice day. Anyway, we're at the end of the show. Leonard, I really do appreciate you being here. It got a little
saucy.
Got a little heated there at the end, but that's the way I like it. No, I really appreciate you being here.
I don't mind at all.
I appreciate your service, and you were a great cop.
Thank you. You're doing a good job, too.
Thank you. I really appreciate you being here, and even though we might disagree a little bit, I think we agree on a lot more things than we disagree on.
That's the American way, though.
Absolutely.
More people should do that.
Absolutely. And you have something called credibility, unlike some of the idiots that call into the show that have zero credibility and they just want to